Also today, West Sayville firefighters discovered the body of a 72-year-old man this morning while fighting a house fire on Bucknell Road. News 12's Lee Tyrell has this report.
This fatal fire brings to 10 the number of Long Islanders who have died in house fires over the past week. About 9:30 Saturday morning, firefighters were called to this house on the corner of Bucknell Road and Fremont Avenue in West Sayville.
Upon my arrival, there was a large volume of fire in the front portion of the house. When I got out of my car, I started donning my protective clothing and the self-contained breathing apparatus. At that point, I had assisted my first assistant chief, Warren Horse, to take over the command post. I was going to try and gain entry into the house, knowing that there was an occupant within.
Firefighters found the body of an adult male about 70 years old in the front bedroom. The cause of death has not been determined. Sham says 5 people lived in the house, but only 2 residents were home at the time of the fire.
The grandfather had called for the granddaughter. She had come down at that time, saw the fire, had went back up the stairs where there was a phone and notified called 911, the police department. They connected it to our local fire department, and they had instructed her at that time to get out of the house.
The fire is being investigated by the Suffolk County Arson Squad. Fire officials here say they know of no specific reasons or unusual conditions here on Long Island at this time that would cause so many serious fires in such a short time. But the thing to remember is that this type of fire can happen to anyone, and Chief Sham strongly recommends the use of smoke detectors and practice fire drills to save lives.
One thing I could say is if a fire does break out in anybody's home, that they notify the fire department, make sure that everybody's out of the house. Notify the fire department. Life comes first, the house comes second. If you can get everybody out and then call the fire department, and make sure that when you call the fire department, you give the right information, the right address, if there is any invalids in the house or there is somebody trapped in the house, and what the situation is.
In West Sayville, Lee Tyrell, News 12.
Alan Gerstel spoke with Fire Chief Gary Sham, who was at the scene of yesterday's fire in West Sayville, and Alan is here now with this report. Alan?
Roger, the fatal house fire in West Sayville was believed to be started by faulty wiring in an outlet, a fairly common cause of residential fires. In this fire, Chief Sham attempted the unsuccessful rescue of a disabled veteran living in the home. When the chief arrived at the Bucknell Road home, smoke was already billowing out of the front door, so he donned his protective gear to attempt the rescue.
I've put my face mask on and began to enter the building, crawling in. I've got about 7 or 8 foot into the area, and someone yelled into me, "Get out, the place has just lit up." When I got out, later on, when things calmed down a little bit, I noticed that half the paint was off my helmet, so that's how hot the fire was at that time.
A disabled veteran perished in this fire, but many other similar tragedies can be prevented. The chief suggested that you check your household wiring and outlets and don't overload them with too many wires. Keep at least one general-purpose fire extinguisher in your home, keep it fully charged, and know how to use it on small household fires. And keep the phone number for your local fire department on each phone in your house, so you won't waste precious minutes looking it up. The devastation here at this West Sayville house is a grim reminder that fires don't just happen to the other guy. And according to the chief, it's vital that homes are equipped with smoke detectors that are maintained properly so that they operate when you need them most.
We try and stress smoke detectors. Smoke detectors in the home, it's a start. It's giving you an early warning to get out of that house.
75% of all homes in the United States are equipped with smoke detectors, according to the chief, but more than a third are not maintained properly. The chief suggests you test yours frequently and replace the battery when necessary. He suggests that smokers set up designated smoking areas in the house, and he offered this sobering advice.
It's not only you that are living in that home. Most people have a family, and I feel that it's their responsibility to educate themselves to make their home as safe as possible when they're living in it or sleeping in their dwelling.
Most local fire departments are actively involved in fire prevention, and they will be happy to answer specific questions you might have regarding fire safety and the operation of home fire equipment. Sham suggests you call for safety tips.